Hi, welcome to Manhattan Zodiac Virtual Bar. Always happy to see you here. My name is Katya, and today we are talking about shaken cocktails. We are going to go through tools we need for shaking, techniques that we use behind the bar and at home, and of course a little bit of history, as always, just because we believe that history makes you appreciate what we have on hands today, and it also helps you memorize techniques and basics. So behind the bar we use 4 things for shaking cocktails. These are jigger for measuring, shaker for shaking, and 2 types of strainers. This is tea strainer and Hawthorne strainer, and both are optional for house mixology. I will explain why later, but let's start from jigger. So why do we measure? In professional environment we measure for consistency of flavor and volume, and there are different types of measuring. Maybe eyeballing. We don't use it in professional environment. Pre-pouring. This one takes hours and hours and hours of training to get it right, because pour spouts, which you see on the bottles behind the bar, pour half of an ounce in a second, and you need to learn how to count right. The most accurate tool for measuring is jigger, and there are many of them. Double-sided jigger, one-sided jigger, Japanese jigger, OXO measuring cup, classic jigger, transparent classic jigger. Many of them, and they all have their weak and strong sides. I prefer either this one or this one, just because of lesser chance of spilling because of skinny form and because of parallel walls. Bartenders choose their tools based on their style and habits, and it's totally up to you what you are going to choose for home mixology. You can even eyeball, and it's gonna be totally fine, unless you want to bring your mixology skills on a higher level. If you want to create recipes, share recipes, write down recipes, you will definitely need something to measure. And maybe bell jigger will be a good choice, because this one has all the measurements from quarter ounce up to 2 ounces, and it's very accurate. The same with OXO measuring cup. Japanese jigger, the bigger version, will not have quarter ounces, that's why I have 2 of them, but they are very light, they are very comfortable in hands, and when you use 2 of them behind the bar, it brings a touch of flair. One of the theories says that word jigger comes from British Navy, and they nicknamed boatswain's measuring device when they were getting their daily ration of rum or gin. And they nicknamed the device after the 4th smallest mast on the ship, jigger mast, just because it was so small. The word jigger also signified to an old measurement which roughly equivalent to 1.5 ounces. And another theory says that it's probably coming from the word thingamajig, which is made up word for something that is not named yet, or something that name you can't remember, so it's probably just stuck with the device. One of the most important tools we use behind the bars is Hawthorne strainer, and this one will let you keep bigger chunks of ice and fruits and leaves in the shaker whenever you strain the drink into the glass. And Hawthorne strainer is a product of evolution of a very ancient device, Chinese tea strainer, which grew into julep strainer first, and we will talk about this one during our stirring class. And finally, production of Hawthorne strainers started in 1930 in Great Britain, and the company which was producing them would punch the holes in the strainers, which spelled Hawthorne, just in honor of the bar, which was already closed by that time. These strainers have spring around the edge, and this spring plays a huge role in the straining process itself, and also it lets it fit into shaker tins and most of the mixing glasses. Also, most of these strainers designed a way where they can divide the flow into 2 parts, and you can strain 2 cocktails at the same time. How it works: whenever your cocktail is ready, shaken and ready, you will cover a smaller tin with the strainer, and by using your index finger, you can either close the gate or open the gate. By opening the gate, you will achieve straining of bigger parts and 1 flow. By closing the gates, you will achieve finer straining and 2 flows. magic. At the bars, classic and craft cocktail bars, we always use tea strainer along with Hawthorne strainer because we want to make sure that your drink is ideally strained and there are no unwanted parts in it, including small ice shavings. And this is how it works. Cheers, guys. But at home, both strainers are optional because you always can use your shakers as a strainer as well, and you always can dump your drink into the glass with the ice you shook it with, and we call it dirty dump, and we mostly use it in fast-paced environment like clubs and dive bars. What do we shake and why do we shake? Traditionally, we shake everything that contains citrus, any muddled fruits, berries or leaves, egg whites or whole eggs, and we shake to cool the drink down, to dilute the drink, and to aerate the drink. And this is our main tool. How old do you think is this device? It's as old as 7,000 years before current era. And I really recommend to have this ancient thing at home if you are interested in making drinks and drinking drinks. Even though you can use other devices like a blender cup and mason jar to shake your drinks, this one will allow you to create proper aeration and proper dilution of your drinks due to its capacity and its shape. And the most important criteria of the shaker when you choose them is that it withstands violent agitation without spilling drinks all around you and your guests. So let's dive into it in the details. There are two different types of shakers. One is 3 pieces cobbler shaker and the other one is 2 pieces Boston shaker. Cobbler shakers come in different sizes, starting from individual small one cocktail shaker and up to huge party sizes. This shaker consists of 3 parts. It's tin where you build your drink, then it's top with integral strainer in it, and cup-shaped seal on top of that. So basically you build your drink in the tin, then you close all 3 parts, shake, open the top, and pour drink into your glass. The good thing about this shaker that you don't need Hawthorne strainer to use that, and also if you have smaller hands you always can purchase smaller one and it will be pretty handy. The difficult thing about this shaker that each set is very individual and it's difficult to get used to that, so we don't use them behind the bar very much in the United States. Because of that they leak very often, and also you need to wash 3 parts instead of 2, and it makes a very big difference when you make up to 400 drinks per night. And now let's talk about the most popular choice of American bartenders, Boston shaker, which consists of 2 parts, small tin and large tin. We build our drink in the small tin, then we top it with ice until the end. This is how we measure how much ice should we put into the shaker to create particular speed inside of that, to achieve very particular dilution, which is about 30%, and particular aeration, which is texture of your drink. After you build your drink, you just put one tin over another under the pretty radical angle and tap it to initiate the seal. You want to make sure that you hold your shaker from both sides with both of your hands to make sure it doesn't fall apart while you are shaking, and that's the reason why bartenders always turn aside from their guests while they are shaking, because when it happens, and it happens especially at the beginning, we don't want the drink to be all over our guests. It's better when it's all over ourselves, because you also want to put as much energy into your shaking as you can and send your shaker as far from you as you can. This is how you create particular speed, which helps you achieve proper dilution, aeration and cooling. Whenever you are done shaking, you want to break the tins by slapping the large tin at the place where it just starts to form the gap, and you basically catch it right after and open it. The other technique is just to press the shaker, the big tin, from both sides and use your index finger to move the smaller tin, and this is how you will open it after shaking. So before we talked about cobbler shaker and strainer, which is built into that shaker. But what to do if you have Boston shaker on hands but don't have any strainers? Here's the trick. You open your shaker, you leave just a little gap for water, and keep your ice inside. And this is how you strain, having just Boston shaker. This is a good trick for home, but it probably will not work behind the bar because straining will not be ideal, but still you can use that. Alright guys, to repeat what we have learned today, let's make a classic gin gimlet, and it's going to be 1.5 ounces of gin, ¾ of an ounce of lime juice, and ¼ of an ounce of simple syrup. Ice till the edge. Flap our shaker. Shake about 10 seconds. Open the shaker. Hawthorne strainer, tea strainer, and garnish it nicely. Cheers guys, you worked hard today, you deserve that. If you have any questions, please ask us under this video. Subscribe our channel, we will be happy to see you in our community. Have a great day and see you next time.